host, Adrian Bruce, for tonight. So sadly, Fiona couldn't make it tonight. So I'm your host. We've got the two Sophies. So if you want to say hello, Sophies.
I'll start then. Hi. Thanks everyone for joining.
Which Sophie's that?
Sophie Heptonstall.
And hi from Sophie Rennie down in wet Devon tonight. Thanks for joining.
Great. So it's raining down there, is it, Sophie?
It is. It's not very nice. I was supposed to go diving this morning, but a full 7 put paid to that, so I had to go to work instead, which is cruel, a cruel injustice.
Okay. And then moving on, we've got our CEO Mary, and we have. Do you want to say hello, Mary?
Hello, Mary. Hi, everybody.
And then we've got some council team as well. So we've got Edward and a few council members as well.
Yeah, Adrian. I think we've got Andy Shenstone as well. So we've got Edward Haynes and Andy Shenstone at the moment from council.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Well, welcome. And then welcome to everybody that's just joined us tonight to come to question time, which is fantastic. So few rules to go through. So this is actually being recorded, so just be aware of that. It's also it will be shared tomorrow once we've finished tonight with it. So the recording will be shared tomorrow. If you can keep your videos on, but keep your mics off, that will be good. And then if you want to get writing your questions in the chat, what I'll do is I'll pick up the questions in the chat, and then what I want you to do is I'll ask you to ask the question to the two Sophies, and then hopefully they should be able to reply to you as long as the question's not too hard. And then if we run out of time, so we're planning to do sort of like an hour's question time. So if we do by any chance run out of time, I'll round it up. But what you can do is you can email your question if you don't get your question answered to sophie@bsac.com. So if that's okay. Right, I think that's it. So what I'm going to do is stop the sharing, and then I think we'll get going with it. Okay, so I think if you want to start trying to populate the chat with your questions, if you've got questions, I'll actually start the first question off to the two Sophies. So this is from me. So diver training. Do you have any challenges getting members to either sports diver or dive leader levels? So who would like to answer that? Shall I throw it to Sophie H?
Well, this is really one for the clubs, really, to give us some information. I can talk on behalf of my own club, but it'd be really interesting to see if there's any specific challenges out there in any way we can help at HQ, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, what has been done over the last couple of years is we've got a new sports diver and new dive leader, and the new dive leader is very much with the ISO standard and designed really around the dive leading element and the dive management, and supposed to be more branch friendly really to deliver. So if it's not, we'd love to know about it, and if it is, then that would be great too.
Thank you, Sophie. Sophie Rennie, anything on that as well? Or?
Yeah, no. So I think we do know that there probably are some issues, and that probably relates to clubs. Some clubs obviously doing diving only, and some clubs not having enough instructors. But what would be really important for us is that if you raise your hand and you want to ask a question or tell us how your club's doing, then we can get a bit of a portfolio going to see, where the difficulties lie or what they are, so that maybe we could try and do something about it. We do understand that the difficulties are based around pool use and also getting out on boats and everything else. So let us know, and just put your hand up, and then the chair will come to you one by one.
Yeah, Good. Okay, so I think that's got us started. We got a question from Andy Shenstone. So Andy, do you want to ask your question?
Thanks for that. Yeah, it was just a quick question regarding what colleagues think are the current plans for the future of advanced diver.
Well, that's a good one. I think Sophie H for that one.
Okay. So, the current thinking of advanced diver. So it's a project that's just been kicked off. So the team are looking at it and looking at where it fits with advanced instructor as well, because obviously it ties into that. So it's got to be looked concurrently. The current thinking really is that it's difficult to deliver at the moment, and it's quite complex in terms of what I think there's a lot of misunderstanding of what has to be done for it as well. From a personal point of view, I think that the expedition element is quite dated. It's quite focused on logistics rather than diving, and that things have moved on along a lot since we put that together. So we're aware that it's well and truly due an update, but what we need to secure with advanced diver is we need to make it something that shows a level of experience, but that experience could be varied, because we know that experience isn't the same for everyone, and not everyone wants to do the same experiences. We just need an experienced diver at that point, but it also needs to be desirable for someone to do. So it needs to be something people want to do and want to participate in, and that actually gives them something exciting from a diving point of view. So we are looking at that development of what people's interests are, what they want from a diving qualification, what they want to learn, what they want to do. And it's very early stages and it's in its infancy, but that could be going to a model where you're looking at things like the photogrammetry side of things, looking at dipping into the archaeology side of things, the projects, the sea search side of things, lots of different range of experience where you don't have to do them all, but you could pick and choose things that interest you, that builds that diving experience, encourages diving activity, and also shows a breadth of skills that can then be enjoyed in a club environment. I think the key for me for advanced diver is threefold: that it's something people want to do, that excites them, that it's something that benefits clubs, so it actually broadens diving activity within the club, so it puts back into the club, and that it's not impossible to deliver. So those are the three things for me that are in that scope.
That's great, thanks. I suppose the only thought I'd add to that is the extent to which it provides the opportunity to provide a bridge into a more clearer bridge into first class diver as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and that brings a broader question into what we do with first class, which we can't really look at until we get the advanced diver section sorted.
Also, thank you for that.
Also, Soph, I think, and Andrew, Andy, there's kind of a link as well with if you haven't got advanced instructors or assistant advanced instructors, you can't really do your advanced diver stuff. So that's a kind of a big blocker for branches, I feel. So we kind of need to look at that as well, don't you think? Is that something we need to look at? Because if you know,
we're looking at that in a different way. Yes.
Yeah.
So, different kind of way.
Yeah. No. Okay. That's good then. So let's move it on to Graham's got Graham Dorney's got a question. If you'd like to ask your question to the team, that'd be good.
Yeah, sure. We've got 4 open water instructors in our club at the moment, or advanced instructors, and we're quite an aging group of instructors. So whilst we're quite on top of our ocean diver training, sports diver training, we've got a number of dive leader trainees who are trying to push themselves forward on the dive leader course. So obviously the e-learning has been a benefit for them in terms of doing the theory, but in terms of open water, we are really struggling for capacity on that at the moment. So I just wanted to ask what assistance, if anything, is available for providing the open water training lessons for our dive leader trainees.
So there's multiple. Can I ask what region you're in, Graham? What region are you
Yeah,
in?
sure. We're in the eastern region, so
Okay.
we're in Suffolk. Yeah,
No problem.
Sudbury Scuba Club in Suffolk.
Fantastic. So we offer regional diver training days, but I'm aware that for Eastern region those have been Stony so far, which is a bit further away for you, and we have had some requests for Gildenberg as well, which we are going to try and facilitate as much as possible. So for for any diver grade, we're offering regional training days so that people can go and get those open water training dives done on regional training days. However, we're aware that that doesn't suit everyone, and if you contact me or the regional coach, what we'll look at doing as well is providing other instructors and doing bespoke dates as we can to get volunteer instructors to help with training. So some of the regions, Eastern's been without a coach, unfortunately, for a period of time. Obviously, very sadly, Neil passed away. So we've got a new coach in place, but we're looking at boosting that activity and doing much more support. Other areas have got WhatsApp groups where we can ask instructors to come in and support clubs. So like you say, you're doing a great job with the training, but here and there it's nice to develop other people, and they might have some dive leaders as well. So and I think it's best if you've got a group of people, get in contact, send me an email and we can pick it up, but we can certainly look at other instructors from local clubs supporting you with that training, and we do that on quite a regular basis, and we do say please do contact us because we will always try. We've done we did our biggest regional training day a few weeks ago at Stony in a long time. We actually had 21 people on it and did everything from ocean diver up to advanced diver. And we'd love to do more of those as well around the country. And as we said, we're not trying to take over the training from clubs, but we're aware that people miss out on things here and there. And actually, if they can get some of it completed over a weekend, it's a really big boost for them.
Yeah, sure. Okay, no, that's great. We know James Sue's the Eastern region coach, so he did actually do some of his dive leader training with us at some point a few years ago.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
But we can definitely support you.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. So let's look at the next question. So we've got BC. I don't know, is that a BCD or a BC question about advanced diver stuff again? So I don't know if you want to ask any questions to maybe Sophie Rennie or.
Yeah, AJ, it's Brad Carter. Sorry, it's the way my Teams comes up.
Mate, you're right.
Yeah, it's a flip over from a work Teams thing. So, it was a couple of weekends ago, myself and Poppy Disney, we did a regional advanced diver theory day where we delivered the whole advanced diver theory in one hit. And I can see why they're doing the advanced theory, bringing it up, because to be honest with you, the theory slides and the material was quite poor. It still mentions ERD, full face mask courses, and when I've got students sat in front of me going, can I do this full face mask course? I'm afraid you can't. And what's an extended range diver? And the other thing we noticed was we had 2 crossovers from Paddy DMs that went straight into dive leader, and then were, for whatever reason, put straight on their advanced diver course. And they had a huge uphill struggle. They both failed the exam. Which was a real shame. So, we noticed that transition from advanced diver to first class diver, and being that role model, the teaching materials got to reflect what we're trying to make our advanced divers, and I don't think it does at the minute.
No, so I'll come in there and say hi and thanks for that question, and that's why it's next on the list for total revamp. So we've got a team who are working stoically in the background, bearing in mind they're all volunteers. We're going into Easter to revamp. So I'd like to think that at some point and maybe if we do this quite regularly, we'll be able to keep you updated on where we're at on it. But yeah, it certainly does everything needs to be updated, and we're well aware of it, and we are working as hard as we can with the volunteers to make that happen. So I completely get it, and every week we get people going, why is it that you know, one theory lesson has to be delivered by a certain level of instructor, and I'm, you know, definitely in favour of changing those rules. So we just got to, just if you could bear with us for you know, a couple of months, hopefully more, and David George is on it as one of our key nationals, and hopefully he's going to come up with his team with a really good course that we can offer, and then, you know, we won't be in this space where we're getting you know, complaints about advanced diver. We get it, we really do.
No, thanks,
we know
Sophie.
we have got a quick and dirty fix as well for it, to be perfectly honest. So we're aware that the materials are well and truly out of date. So we are doing a quick fix on the PowerPoints at the moment. So the people that did the National Instructor exam last year reviewed a presentation each and have updated them. It just ended up at a lower end of some priorities due to some of the other workload, but we intend to get that done in the next 6 weeks, really, in terms of getting that updated. So it won't be perfect, it won't be the new product, but it won't be embarrassing.
Perfect. Thanks, Sophie.
And so just to answer Maria and Mark as well, so your questions are all about advanced divers. So hopefully that's answered your questions. And you know, as I say, bear with us. You know, we're work in progress.
Yeah, if people are happy with that, if you do want to say anything, Maria, Mark, just yeah, shout up if you want to do that. No, okay. Right, next question then. We've got Elaine. So if you want to ask the two Sophies your question or your concerns, I think it's Suffolk Club.
No, it wasn't a question. It was a comment. It was
comment,
just a comment to say that we are in exactly the same boat as the Suffolk Club, that we're talking about issues trying to get the dive leader, particularly the dive leader open water lessons. And so anything regional for us in Suffolk and Norfolk would be fantastic.
Okay.
Where's the best location for you to do it? I know that you've got coastline, but obviously weather dependent. Where would you want that training to be ideally for your members?
That's a good question. I mean, I hate to have to say Gildy, but it is the closest. Otherwise it's a massive trek over to there really is nothing else, and this is what we're struggling to be absolutely honest with you. You know, the North Coast is not you know, the East Coast, sorry, is not really ideal for us to be out in those waters particularly, so it needs to be an inland site, and we have nothing really very close. So
okay, we'll look at that then.
From our perspective, because we're in sort of western Suffolk, so we can get across to Stony reasonably easily. So from our perspective, we do train at Gildy, we do train at Stony as well.
Okay.
Yeah. What we'll do is we'll actually look at some dates, and we can look at both.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll move on to the next one. So K-Bets. So if you want to voice your question.
Come in, Kevin.
Is it Kevin Betts?
He's gone for a glass of wine, I reckon. Kevin, are you there? Anyway, so his question is, what is the current advice on booking on Egypt liveaboard boats? Have seen a comment, but has there been any further advice as boats get the new certification tickets? So I know that Sophie H has exactly the right answer for this, so I'm going to let her deal with this one.
Okay, so we published some advice in the magazine, and I can share the link out when we send this link out as well. So what we are doing at the moment is we're going with the report that we've seen from the MAIB, which gives advice to British tourists looking to travel on any liveaboard, really it applies to, which is basically book with a reputable tour operator. Make sure that when you're looking at it, you're looking at what safety elements are in place, and make sure that the boat is registered with CDWS, I think, is the thing for Egypt. They have an audit process. They have improved that audit process this year, but some of the things to look out for are safety drills, making sure that once you're on board, you're taken round the vessel, and if you're not taken around the vessel on those safety drills, insisting that you are. It's a really, really difficult one at this moment in time because everything's slightly different. I know that the authorities are looking at all sorts of different things in terms of additional training has been put in place this year for the crews. So all of the crews are having to be trained specifically to the boat and the fire systems that they've got in place. But it's really, really about speaking to the tour operator themselves, asking them what the audit standards are, and asking them for the safety information. Good operators have safety sheets and they will tell you what their safety protocols are. And then we have suggested on top of that you do walkthroughs of the emergency exits so that everybody's familiar with them, and that you make sure that there's a safety drill before the boat leaves port. So I think those are the key things, really. But as I said, that could apply to any liveaboard in any location, not just Egypt. So it's really just thinking about those things and contacting the tour operator before you book.
Fantastic.
Okay, thank you.
Has that answered your question, Kevin? Is that right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, now I think back to Andy Shenstone then. To put another question in.
It was just a quick one about the sort of your thinking. I mean, there's so much to be done, and you've guys got so much on already. But what your current views are on the sort of the configuration of the STC portfolio? We've clearly got some elements there that are really, really popular and they sell very well, both through branches and nationally. But there are others that are listed, but actually in practice are never asked for and therefore never provided. Outdoor engine maintenance, boat engine maintenance comes to mind. I can't remember the last time I saw that advertised, and to get 4 of our branch members trained, we sent someone down to an engineer on the south coast, and it was fine, we got it done, but there was nothing available through BSAC. So just wondering what you think sort of the general health of the portfolio is like, and what you're thinking is maybe medium term, on what we look rather than the immediate, but medium term you might want to think about, or we should be thinking about as BSAC about it, please.
I think it's a really difficult one in terms of looking at it. If you look at the STC portfolio and you look at the ones people do, they only do them if it counts towards a qualification or it gives you something extra. So if it gives you extra depth or to use a piece of equipment that you need to use, or it gives you something that's certification that you need for insurance purposes, then people are likely to do it because it shows competence and it goes on a qualification list. If it's a nice to have, if it's something that's interest level, it's much, much lower uptake that we get for those. So I think what we've got to look at is what people really want and are they going to do it, and we need to do much more research in that level, because to build a course and keep it up to date, I mean, outboard engine maintenance, our course is well and truly out of date for that. We actually don't offer it for that reason, and also boat engines have moved on a long way since we did that course. And so again, it's the expertise in requiring to do that, and does the manufacturer allow you to tamper with the engine, and how does that affect your insurance if you start to do your own maintenance, and are you a competent and qualified person? It's all of these things that now come into play. We would like to offer more STCs. In terms of what we're thinking of initially, as I said, there's more research to be done, but it's what's it going to give someone? What's it actually going to give them that they value, that they want? And also, I think it's also about time and delivery. So we know that we've got some really good STCs, but again, that need a revamp and an update and to become more deliverable. First aid for divers is one that I would put into that category. There's a lot of theory that needs to go onto online learning, and then we can just really focus on the more interesting practical side and delivering in club. I also think probably things that are one day and shorter in terms of learning, that are bite-sized, also comes into play a lot for this. Our STC courses are quite substantial, and some of them need to be. We need the proper O2 admin, we need AD, we need a decent first aid course. But there's other bite-sized skills that we could be teaching that are much more deliverable in short online lessons, and then a day's diving. Buoyancy and trim's actually a really good example of that, and I know that people do it because they want to do it, but that the size of that course makes it really, really deliverable, and also something that people can achieve. So I think for me it's about the delivery and what people can get, and we should be looking more at the day courses.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so moving on, we've got Nick Harvard. If you want to, I think it's to do with advanced instructor. That's a good one. Nick there.
Actually, the person that asked the question about 5 minutes ago was talking about the advanced instructor and people crossing over, and I was correcting it because you were answering about advanced diver. Right.
Okay. That's fine then. We'll move on to the next one. Mark, DFA buddy, question. Is Mark there? Mark Jones. So, well, I'll read it out. So, as an instructor and DFA buddy, currently working on my AD training, we have found that the methods of instructor training are very outdated. So, David Brent, 1970s style. We are losing potential instructors due to the BSAC way or nothing, which is not good. I am a L3 AT instructor for profession. Is the method of instruction being updated? So,
I think we probably need to understand what the method of instruction that's outdated is, so that we can answer that one.
Yeah. Can I chip in here as well with Mark, because Mark is a member of our club. He's obviously muted at the moment, so maybe he's he's had a little detour or something. But we have had some communication with James, the Eastern Region coach, on this. Basically, we've had a number of assistant instructors attend the instructor foundation course and so on in the last few years, and every one of them has had concerns about the way of the training has been delivered, in terms of an absolute sort of by absolute method, no deviation from the you can't talk when you're on the surface, this sort of thing, which just seems to go against best practice in terms of some of the instructors in our club who are training in other aspects, such as kayaking, such as, I mean, Mark is an instructor on Apache helicopters and things like that. So he is an instructor by his profession. So the concern we have is that there seems to be a method of training instructors which is very prescribed, and that, as I say, there's no real deviation from that, and that sort of approach seems to be putting some of our assistant instructors off from becoming open water instructors. It's leaving them with a bit of a bad taste in their mouth. So I think Mark's angle on this was, is there any plans to review the way that instructor training is delivered?
So in terms of instructor training, we've already started on that. So the IFC has been completely revised for this year. I think start with the concerns. Our aim and the courses are supposed to deliver flexible instructing and really, really promote why you do something, not how you do it prescriptively. So if that's not getting across on specific courses, then we need to look at that, because that's never been the case. The whole training scheme is based on flexible teaching, flexible approach, changing your techniques to suit who you've got, and in that could be whole different learning needs as well, in how you deliver the instruction. And that's the way it's always supposed to be delivered. Now, if that's not hitting the mark, then we need to obviously look at that and look at the individual cases, and any feedback to us, we can pick that up and address it as we go on. So that none of that feedback has come to me. I'm aware that I've only been here a year, so if it's before that, it might be different, but please do send it in. We have revised the Instructor Foundation course completely. We have relooked at what's delivered in it so that it's much more focused against what the instructor manual is. So how do you deliver the training materials you've got? What are the different techniques you can use? How do you put that into a slate? How do you deliver that in water? In terms of what you're talking about in terms of best practice, it is best practice to have a regulator in your mouth if the conditions are a little bit unwieldy, because you don't want water inspiration, and that's different to other sports. If you look at best practice for scuba diving for other agencies, they do similar. It doesn't mean it's fixed in stone. It's a continuous risk assessment. You look at it. Is the situation safe? That's all we're bothered about. Safety. What's safe? But there's two benefits to having a regulator in your mouth, and it doesn't mean you can't talk on the surface, but for people like me, it means we have to shut up and actually demonstrate, because I can talk too much. So for me, it's beneficial for me as an instructor, because it makes my demonstrations a bit clearer, so that can really help in some cases. The other benefit to it is if it's rough on the surface, and there is a danger of water aspiration or falling over, then it does mean that there's no water aspiration. But it's not, you know, it's common sense and safety is what we're looking for, and a flexible approach to teaching. The new IFC also looks at, actually, instead of taking one skill and breaking it down, we run through an entire lesson from the instructor manual with different students. So they're looking at the whole lesson of what actually would be delivered in a club environment, rather than taking one skill into minutiae. We're helping them deliver. So they've got the lessons from the instructor manual, and we're really pushing on the how you could be positioned, how you can show that you're keeping the class controlled, and the flexibility in that is quite big. The open water instructor courses move the same way, and the PI in terms of the lessons again are now much more instructor manual. We're not testing you on can you read the instructor manual, we'll give you the pages. So you're going to deliver a lesson from page 11 to page 13 of the instructor manual, so it's clearer for people. And what we're trying to do as well is look at the instructor trainer development course, which is it's the way that we're getting instructors to teach these instructor courses, and to look at that cultural element, Graham and Mark, to be perfectly honest. We're a volunteer organisation. We want people to enjoy it. We want them to enjoy teaching. We want them to enthuse about teaching, and we want people to recommend. And recommendation is what encourages people. And you know, we're well aware of that. So any ideas how we can install that, or anything that comes up, please do feedback to us. Sophie and I are really, really passionate about that, and the fact that we have so many volunteers that put in, and that we really want it to be enjoyable. No one wants to join a club if they don't enjoy it, and that's why people are in clubs, is because they love diving and they like the people that are in that club and enjoy going away with them.
And I'll also just add to that to say that, you know, we looked at the IFC and said, you know, it's not delivering what the potential instructors want, or are, and then going back into branches, don't really know what they're supposed to be doing, because the course wasn't designed to help them. So we've changed that, and I think give it, you know, this year. So we're already getting really good feedback from the new course. It's only over a day because they do all their online learning, so they don't have the expense of staying in hotels over 2 nights or whatever. But also they will get the chance to actually do what they're going to do the following week when they get thrown back into their branch by the TO who goes, I just need you to teach this, and they know how to do it. So I'd like to think that whilst it's still a BSAC way of doing stuff, it's more open and honest into what they're actually going to be doing when they get into branch. So that information just has to feed and filter through, because we've only just started that process.
Yeah. I think it would be useful to have, I don't know whether you've already done this, Sophies, but to have a feedback mechanism at the end of the training, so at least there's an opportunity for attendees to sort of give live feedback, you know, whilst it's all fresh in their mind after the course.
So there is now.
There is,
so
great.
There is a survey link they can do anonymously, or they can do with their name. They can also email direct as well, so that is in there.
Right. Okay, no, perfect. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, let's move on. We're halfway through, so let's move on. So next question from Elaine. I think it's to do with equivalency courses. So Elaine, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah. Can you? I don't know if you can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
I have got it on. So we are a little bit short of instructors in our club, and it would be great to have a first aid for divers course. And I know it's just been touched on about having it online, and then maybe doing the practical more locally. But just recently, we've had a PADI instructor who has said, well, it's okay because I can deliver the PADI one that I had, and I've been instructing that as a PADI instructor. Can you tell me, is that equivalent? Is it equivalent to the BSAC one?
It depends. So some of them are and some of them aren't. If you send me the details, I can tell you whether it's an equivalent or not. But it would just need to be taught in PADI. You couldn't teach a non-BSAC course in a club under BSAC, if that makes sense. So it needs to be taught separately.
So what you could do is you could get your PADI instructor to cross over, and then obviously whatever the crossover requires, that person could then teach the BSAC course to you.
Then that person could teach. Oh, I'm with you. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will work on that one.
So the best thing to do is to get him to or her to. What we need to do is look at the PADI first aid course, look at our course, see how equivalent they are. But we'd rather that the branch members are taught by a BSAC instructor rather than a PADI instructor. But we'll take them happily if they're a PADI instructor to cross them over.
Okay.
It's a win-win situation for your BSAC branch.
It's a one-day crossover. They just do the OEC. They just do the open water instructor course, and then they're crossed over because the ISO standard's the same. Which branch are you, Elaine?
Lowestoft.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we've got the East Anglian theme running through this evening, which is very interesting. So, we can always have a chat with the regional coach as well. So.
Yeah. I've been in touch with James actually. So this is something I was going to ask him. If there's any support for as well. So. Yeah,
and first aid for divers, well, we haven't got it on e-learning yet. What I did for Droylsden Club was delivered the presentations online first, so we can still do it by Teams or WebEx. So if you need that, we can absolutely get that set up for you with a first aid instructor, and then it's just the practical we set up after that. So that's no problem, because for Droylsden we did it over a couple of evenings because there's quite a lot of theory.
Okay, so it's a couple of evenings worth. Okay, all right, that's brilliant. I'll look into that and get back to you, Sophie.
No problem.
Okay, many thanks. Right, moving on. So, Edmund, snorkeling.
Hi, are you okay? I was just curious how, what the plans were for snorkeling. I presume some of you have seen the documentary we got onto the One Show a few weeks ago. We've had a real good success. We're doing snorkeling litter picks, but I'm involved with a marine charity as a diver, and my time's getting more and more busy, and I'm trying to get more people to start doing the training and, keep it going, because eventually I won't have the time to run it. And I just wondered what was coming up because the what's in the manual at the moment doesn't sort of link up with the books that you sign them off with and what's online. You have to jig everything about. And I just was wondering what the plans with it was.
So I'll answer this one to start with, but I'm sure Sophie will back me up. So you've hit the nail on the head. So we've been really frustrated with snorkeling because it never really quite hit the right marks at the right levels. So Julia Brannigan, who's HQ staff, she has a team of snorkeling advisors, and she's running through, and they're working through every single course to kind of completely revamp and rehash. So so that's underway, and I'm not sure what the deadline is, but it's very well underway. And also we've designed the snorkel guide course, which is more relevant for all the litter picks and the cleanups and the seagrass and everything else that's really taking on a big part of our time. And I think Mary will back me up by saying that if you just bear with us on the snorkeling, we are getting there, and we think we'll have a really good set of products that everybody will, it'll match up with the diver training program, align with it, and it'll be much simpler kind of move forward for our snorkelers.
Yeah, it would be nice to see as well, where you sort of register, they've done the training, that they don't get any sort of qualification card or anything. At the moment they're a bit like second-class citizen, the snorkeler in a club like. And we've got a reasonable amount now, and there's a lot of interest. We've got a lot of divers coming out with us as well.
Yeah, so they will get cards going forward. The whole, as Sophie's already said, the whole lot is being revamped at the moment and looked at by quite a big snorkeling team. It's well and truly underway. Snorkel Guide has really taken off, but also we're looking at mini snorkeling courses, and probably some of them fit into what you're talking about. So I've seen the person that's written one of them that's online, but we're looking at mini snorkeling conservation champion STC that can be delivered in a day, snorkeling wildlife explorer. So again, not full on marine life appreciation. We're talking about something that someone can go into an open water lake and see something on a snorkel trail that is relevant to them and enjoy it in a day, rather than a full on kind of marine biology. These are really taster to get people interested in things that they can do and activities and participate in. So there's a lot coming with snorkeling, and obviously we're looking at what the offering is for people as well. The underwater litter picks we'd love to hear more from, because we'd love to know about the successes that you're having with that and spread that to other clubs. But we are also getting a lot of snorkeling inquiries now, and I think I've said it a few times and I'll probably get told I'm going on about it again, but snorkeling is a sport in its own right. So we've got loads going on for diving, but snorkeling is in its own right as well, and we're looking at the opportunities of people that haven't looked at diving or don't really want to think about diving for whatever the reason is, looking at snorkeling, because it is more accessible for people as an entry. And if they go into diving later on, great, but if they stay in snorkeling, that's fantastic too. And they can be snorkeling clubs, they can be diving clubs, or they can be both, because if you've got snorkelers and divers, what you've got is probably a bigger pool of people for committee, social, financially putting into a club for the pool potentially, or any resources, and also that kind of atmosphere of going away and doing an activity.
What I did was, originally how it all started when COVID hit. We hadn't finished our ocean divers, so I sort of took them on board and took them snorkeling while we could have access to a pool again, to keep them involved with the club. And then we saw the litter, and it sort of evolved from that. And sort of since then, I've been running a course, as when the tri-dives were happening before Christmas, run a snorkeling course. And then any of them that were going to do the diving after when the new year started, they were already sort of prepped, they'd done the snorkeling, and it moved on really well. It's worked well with it. And some just stayed as snorkelers, some moved on as divers. So and it sort of benefited the club.
Edmund, Mary's written you a little note saying, could you email her, because she's massively interested in what you've been doing. So,
yeah,
so have a look in the chat for the email address.
Yeah, okay, I'll see if I can find it. I'm not very good at technology. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you for that. So I think we've got another snorkeling question from Steve Wandsworth. Steve, are you there?
Yeah, hopefully, if the mic's picking up. So yeah, we do have a snorkel instructor at the moment in the club, but just one, and she's getting towards, well, she's already retiring from diving. How much longer before she packs in snorkeling? So why can't an open water instructor teach snorkeling? What's different in the snorkeling course? And if you must have a separate qualification, why can't there just be a crossover qualification instead of going right back to basics and starting all from scratch again?
Good question.
Do you want to take it, Sophie?
Well, so we all asked ourselves the same question, why, to be fair, and apart from the fact that we historically there's always been that gap, and I don't know why. We don't see any reason why it shouldn't happen, but and there's a but, and that is that what we have to align is the fact that a lot of divers go up through their training having not done any snorkeling, and so we're looking at how we can make it happen really easily, whether it be by a demonstration, so that so because we've got the snorkel guide course, that doesn't have to be taught by instructors. That is something that we're looking at, so that so long as we know and we can see that you can do the skills required and prove it on either a video send in or a sign off by an instructor in the branch, then there's no reason why we can't make that happen. So we've just got to get it right, so that we don't cut corners. But bear with us; it's kind of almost next on our list. So yes, you're absolutely right, and it's ridiculous.
But there is, you say they don't do any snorkeling. It's in the ocean diver course.
Yes, it is. But a lot of clubs, believe it or not, just blast through and don't bother. So
the bit that's not is surface dives. So that's the bit that isn't in there. But we had this very conversation probably 2 weeks ago, where that question was why. So as Sophie said, we found this kind of verification. We just need to firm it up, but we are quite happy to move forwards with it. And if the OWI can prove that they can snorkel and they can snorkel and do a duck dive, then that's everything else is in there. The leadership, the first aid training of O2 and requirements, the risk assessment, the management. So
exactly.
So hopefully a very positive response there for you.
Yeah, sounds it. Yes, thank you.
And in the interim, if you need any snorkel instructors, then we can look at snorkel instructor training, and we can do that in branch if we need to, because it's quite easy to deliver in terms of pool time. So if you've got a couple of people, Warrington Club did it recently, and we're looking for instructors. We can send instructors to go and do that in the pool for people if you've got the pool, and obviously that makes it much more cost effective because you're providing the venue, so it's then just the pack.
Yeah, we do have one person who is qualified as a snorkel instructor and a open water instructor. I mean, kudos to her for sitting both at some point in the past, but
but also going forward in the IFC. So I was on a IFC a couple of weeks back and did a bit of a trial run just with good timing and the fact that we don't have a time limit on our pool time here, and we added in all the snorkel skills to the skill set for the new assistant instructors. So if they've done that skill set, then that would then automatically mean that they've got that skill set, and we've kind of not assessed but worked through them at IFC levels. So then it would be a natural addition and an inclusion to their portfolio without having to be reassessed. So moving forward, I'd like to think it would become a natural ticket that they'll already have.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Steve, I just want to say what a great T-shirt you've got on. You might want to put snorkeling as well on the bottom of it. Right, so thank you very much. Right, Edward, over to you. So we've got the chair of BSAC question to the two Sophies.
Yes, this is my training officer from my branch, but he's been unsuccessful to be able to log on, so I'm going to ask the question on his behalf. I can't answer it. Why can't the students who are currently going straight from ocean diver to sport diver do depth progression so they can dive to 25 meters or 30 meters when someone who's done the advanced ocean water ocean diver course can dive to 30 meters beforehand? There seems to be a disparity, and I can't explain it, so could you please?
Do you want me to do that one?
Yeah, why not? But if you, I'm happy to answer it after you if there's anything.
Oh, go on,
out.
you go then, Sophie. You go.
Well, so when we designed that program, initially it was to be modular, so that you imagine you're on a Red Sea, hopefully not sinking or burning liveaboard, and you complete your ocean diver training with your branch, and then you have 3 or 4 days where you've trained and you've finished, but you can't progress, and so the dive guide says let's go to 30 meters, and you either break the rules and go to 30 meters or you don't. and you stick to the rules. So we designed it so that you could modularly go and do that deep depth progression in order to do that while you're still on holiday. The course was then taken out of my hands, although it was my initial concept, and Adrian Collier's, and it was moved to a slightly different sort of process where you have to do certain extra lessons and depth progression in order to do it, to make it part of the advanced open diver, advanced ocean diver. So you can't do it because you're doing sports. You've chosen to go through the sports diver process, but you could do it by just doing those modules first. But you have to do the modules. So an advanced ocean diver still has to do the modules for the deep bit in order to get the depth progression to 30. They don't go straight to 30 meters. There's lessons.
It's the module order
training.
That's the issue. So with sports diver, it's like this gradual build up of experience to the level of doing that, and then doing the progression afterwards with all the skills. And with the advanced ocean diver, those modules were specifically flipped over. We are looking at the logic of it, is because I do understand what they're saying in terms of it's really difficult.
There's an anomaly if a student buys the Ocean Diver, the Sport Diver pack, then they can't currently do the extra modules. But if they buy the Advanced Ocean Diver pack and then the Advanced Ocean Diver pack to the Sport Diver, which costs exactly the same as going the other way, they can. And that there's it's not well communicated that it's maybe advisable to do it the second way rather than the first way. Once people have bought a Sport Diver pack, they're locked into it without, or they pay more money, and it's not attractive. And it's not my branch that this is coming from. It's actually coming from a neighbouring university branch, Highlands and Islands. Oh, okay. But thanks for your
I don't think we're quite aware of how the decision was made.
So it's before our time. So just remember that the two Sophies are pretty new in post. So I'd like to think that we are a new listening team who will listen to the membership, but we definitely are looking at that because it made sense when it was first done, and then the rules were changed, not by us. So to make it not quite as how it should have been, but yeah, we are working on that one. So
we're looking at the logic of all of the grade orders and the top ups. So all of that is being looked at.
Yeah, that's the real part I'm going to be sending back.
Yeah,
because I couldn't answer it for the same reason yourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, thanks Edward. Okay, so I think we've got another one from Nick Harvard. Face-to-face exams.
So, as a recent attendee of the one-day IFC, my attention has now turned to the theory instructor exam, which only seems to be available as a webinar, and nothing in the IFC is about effective teaching and presenting in a webinar, because they want you to be interactive, making it interesting for the student, touchy-feely of equipment or whatever that lesson might be. So I don't really get why the theory instructor exams are webinars only.
You can do it face to face. We can organise that. That's not a problem. So we just haven't put them out there because we don't get many requests for them. In terms of the IFC, we've actually changed all the pre-learning, so it's really focused on delivering an online theory lesson. So it actually has an example of delivering WebEx Online, how you pull that together, based on the fact that most of our theory lessons are delivered online. We will do them. It's literally come down to demand. We found that people were time poor, and also with travel and cost of living, they were happier to do online ones, but we do one-to-one online ones with tutorials for people that aren't comfortable with technology. We do TIE preps as well, where we take people through what's expected, and what's done that, as I said, we also do on the IFC. And if you haven't, when did you do your IFC, Nick, if you don't mind me asking?
March, I think.
Okay, so in those materials there is how to do an online one and an online demonstration one. So I'll come back to you on that.
But doing presentations by being touchy-feely, animated, engaging, which is a lot more difficult to do in a webinar than it is when you've got 4 or 5 students around a table with you in a room.
But it can absolutely be done. And I think that's the point. What we're showing is different methods of delivery. There's no one way of delivering. All our materials that we provide are digital. And slideshows, it doesn't mean you can't bring the real thing into it. And that's what we're also conveying on the ones that are on a presentation. So I know it's more difficult because you're doing it over WebEx, but a lot of clubs are delivering over WebEx. A lot of people are doing e-learning as well. We're not saying you have to be touchy-feely. We're saying if you're in person, then you can bring the equipment in. You can do different examples. You can be more interactive. If you're online, you can do the same. You can do pre-recorded videos, which is what we've shown in the Thai theory presentations. I've seen some amazing ones where people actually have the kit and are displaying it as they go through. It's just about lots of different techniques and what suits the delivery method and what suits the class. There isn't one fixed way.
Also, Nick, so the reason for most of them being online is also the cost factor. So to drive to a venue or potentially stay overnight in a hotel, we listened to the membership who said if they could keep their costs down, then it would be more beneficial. And so you're actually the first person, I think, who's come forward and gone, not liking that idea very much. But if you need some help and advice to bring out your true potential as an absolute brilliant actor and give a lecture with all the props and pretend that you're in front of a group, then we can absolutely coach you on that. But most people haven't, apart from maybe the odd IT glitch, most people have found it much better to be in their own home without having to spend money going to God knows where.
Does that answer your question, Nick? You happy with that?
Happy, no, but it does partially answer it. I don't disagree with some of what you're saying, but I'll follow up with email.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
I think it gives us options, basically. We all learn in different ways, so they're just a tool of options that that an instructor can use. So I think it's a good thing, personally.
I think it possibly comes back to some of the points that have been raised already about the one-day IFC and how some of that may be brought across.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Drop Sophie an email. Carry it on. I'm just looking at the time now, so it's 19:57. I think what we'll do, we'll go for one more question. I think Julian's got a chat comment in there about foundation courses.
Yeah, it was really just sort of following up on what sort of Graham. I'm another sort of Sudbury member, and just following up on what Graham and Mark were saying, and it's positive to hear what Sophie's saying and the language she was using. Because that's sort of, I've had sort of like 30 years of water sport coaching and seen it, the transgression, if you like, from instructing to coaching, and about the learning outcome. To sort of, if somebody can't clear a mask using the one-handed push the forehead method, it's that sort of, you need to clear your mask. How can we find a way that works for you? And I think that's what Sophie's trying to say. But that certainly wasn't my experience, and the recent experience of some of our guys that went on some sort of fairly recent IFC courses. So it was just a comment I was making, really, that it's positive to hear that your sort of the philosophy should be changing.
Yeah, I think maybe we need to do a little bit more work and then on our coaching team to really push that message across, that what we're looking at is teaching someone that actually can do something that is safe and that can do the skill effectively, and that's really the crux of it, because you wouldn't make somebody clear a mask in a certain way if they had a disability, but everybody does things differently as well and thinks about things differently. So I think we really are trying to put that flexibility across in everything. We can do more of it, and I think we need to do some more coaching with our teams to get that across. It's one of the things that we looked at, we started to look at in terms of starting to question instructors why ask why you do something, not what you do, why are you doing it that way. And I think I put something up in the conference last year which was very controversial, where I showed 3 pictures of different AS configurations and said which one is right, and then everyone had an opinion on which one was right, but effectively any of them could have been workable. There's just certain criteria. It doesn't matter. The question, people were looking at whether it was left or right or what type of reg it was, but effectively it doesn't matter as long as it's on a hose long enough to reach a buddy so that they can breathe off it effectively. It doesn't matter. Anything else is immaterial.
Is it safe, unsafe, buddy check?
It's not left or right, and what you have to do, it's can it be used?
So no, I think it's looking at, dare I say, other organisations to see what their coaching philosophies are, and maybe sort of, dare I say, I think BSAC is a bit behind the or was behind the curve.
As we said, feedback to us, please feedback to us, because then we can pick stuff up, and it enables us to pick it up quicker.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Julian, for that. And I think we've done an hour now, so that's so I think we're going to wrap it up here. I think.
Adrian.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's only a couple more questions, isn't there? I'm just wondering whether we can get them done. What do you think?
There's probably
Sophies. How many is there? 3.
There's about 10. It's about 10 questions. If you want to carry on. Let me have a look. 1, 2.
Adrian, I think quite a few of them are comments rather than questions. So there's probably a couple of questions.
Okay. I'm just looking through them now.
So there's a few that so things like that you were told if you took your regulator out of your mouth you'd fail the course. That's something that we need to pick up on coaching our instructor trainers, because that's absolutely definitely not mandated. So nothing is mandated, everything is recommended, so under safe diving practices. So that's something to if you personally email either myself or Sophie H as to who that person is, then we can pick that one up.
Re-educate.
Re-educate. So that's definitely not. AT1, you're absolutely right. That's being dealt with. So that you have to be a higher level to teach it. When actually online learning, which is maybe the way forward for that as well, would discount that. So don't worry too much about that.
I can answer the David Coxon one if you want, John Greenwood. Really depends what your boat insurance says on whether you need a diver coxswain on board or not. You can do it with a boat handler instructor. Anything else you wanted to add on that one, Sophie?
No, absolutely agree with that. And we've got a new training centre who are looking at all the materials for all of those. So it may well change that rule anyways to the level of person who's teaching. And on that note, with boating stuff, we were asked a question about whether somebody who isn't an instructor under BSAC could teach boat handling if they've got all the tickets and known to man. And so we're looking at that as well, because it seems that some people can't dive for some reasons. So therefore, if they can't instruct under diving, why can they not instruct teaching boating? So that's something that hopefully will be a big plus factor for some of the clubs. I went and got my fleece, but I'm still freezing. Litter picks, all good. Diver training, 4 pool sessions, frog kick thing. Well, it's timing. It's timing of being able to teach, I think. So some people can flutter kick for as long as they like, and other people get cramped very quickly, especially with new fins. So to be able to teach a different type of fin kick to prevent that from happening is a really good thing. So it's how you teach your sessions and how quickly the students pick that up. I think that's more of a kind of a time teaching technique more than anything else. Maria, cue card qualification for that's a question for Sophie, I think.
Yeah, so yes, if they do the interim, one cue card is included with the packs. If they want an interim one, they can have it. It's just then that cue card will be allocated to whatever qualification they get, and they need to pay for another one if they want a different one. Totally agree on the messing around with it. It's why we haven't done anything with AOD or Sports Diver at the moment. What we're very, very aware of, and Julia and her team have done a very good job with snorkeling, is actually mapping out the whole lot now. What affects what? Where does it sit? How does it progress? Looking at it as a bigger picture. So yes, we are looking at it, but we aren't going to make any gung-ho decisions on that.
So yeah, so coming in on that one, Phil Wells has got a question about depth progression courses.
Yeah, so this is, I'm guessing this is the deeper diving. Woz and I have been working on this a lot. It had a lot that needed doing to it, just from a planning perspective, because it just wasn't workable. The course was very well put together by a really good team, but in terms of logistics, it would then, the way the planning had been done in the actual course, to be perfectly honest, then really wasn't workable, because it didn't allow people any time whatsoever at depth, which kind of makes it not really fit for purpose. I have sent back the final amends to Woz on the course, which he's working through in the artwork. Can I come back to you on a date? It's all artworked already, but we've got the e-learning and we've got quite a big digital project. So there's not a lot of work to do left on that course. I'll give you a call and speak to you about it. But I need to prioritise some other stuff first to go through in volume.
Steve Wadsworth, can you just give us a private message about who and what course you were on the open water instructor course? Because that doesn't sound like it went very well that day. So if you can send us that, we can have a look at the programme and timings and have a chat with the instructors on the course.
Get more details off them and pass it on.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, please do. Please come back on that.
So I think that's it, Mary. I think for the questions. Yeah. So no more questions from anybody. So if we round it up there, then so I hope this was of use to ask the two Sophies questions. It's something that we're going to plan to do every month. Mary's miming to me. So we want to know your feedback if this is a good thing to do. We think it is. We need to listen to our members and hear what you've got to say. And on that note, I'd just like to thank everybody for turning up. I'd like to thank the two Sophies and the council team, and for everybody for turning up. And I think that's it. And any questions you want to ask, just drop ask questions further. Just drop sophie@bsac.com, Sophie an email, and then we can reply back to you. So have a good evening all.